Welcome, this is Paracuties, and I'll make a quick guide for relic acquisition, kind of how to prioritize the better relics for monthlies, but also for adventures in general. I think these are kind of strong relics in general, and the ones that you want to be trying to get. So I'm going to have the links to both of the documents that I'm showing here. So the first one is my database, and it's got a list of all the relics. So I've got them sorted here by common, rare, epic, and consumable. So as you probably know, the common relics are available through the bronze reliquaries. The reliquaries are the things that look like Pokeballs. You can get these through various quests, missions, adventures, and weeklies. And then the rares come through the silver reliquaries, pretty much the same kind of sources as well, although there are a few that are unlocked once you complete the 2-star special adventure for certain champions, and we'll look at those in just a second. The epic relics are unlocked through golden reliquaries, and these can only be obtained either through the Emporium through purchase with Stardust, or starting next month you will be able to get these via monthly challenge rewards. And you can also get them... Oh no, so you can't get them through the monthly challenge awards. You can get them, through the legendary level. Sorry, my mistake. You can get these through legendary levels. The main ones I'm going to talk about are the commons and rares, just because the epics are completely RNG. Because you can't buy the individual ones from the Emporium, it will be completely random as to what you get from the epic relics. So there isn't really a strategy on what kind of relics you want to target. So let's talk about the commons and rares. So there are a bunch of relics that are very good. A lot of them will be RNG, either you see them in the Emporium shop or you just pull them in your reliquaries. The ones that are not RNG, the ones that you can actually get through 2-star champion adventures. So I've got them listed here, which champion will unlock which, on the right side here. And I'm going to move over to my other document. So this is the guides one. And here I kind of listed the most important to least important that you can obtain through these special 2-star adventures. So the best ones being Stalker's Blade, Grand General Counterplan, Archangel's Staff, Crown Guard Inheritance, Luden's Tempest, Tempest Blade. Those are kind of like the really high tier ones, and then you can see the champions that you need to unlock and do the 2-star mission with. And then these other ones are all pretty good as well. Payload, Riptide Battery, Him, and Scourge's Stash are definitely usable. Shade Leaf and Gravedigger Spade are very niche. You can use Spade on Neela, you can use Shade on a few champions as well, but they're kind of less priority. So try to get these first kind of like 5, 6 here first, because they're very strong, both for adventures and for monthlies. Once you've got your 2-star relic adventures that give you the relics, the next thing that you want to do is you want to unlock stuff that you can only get through the Emporium. So there is a list down here of relics that are not available in the reliquary pool. You can only get these right now either through these adventure rewards, that's the one way, or the second way is through the Emporium by buying it with Stardust. Rare relics I believe are 500 Stardust, and common relics are either 250 or 350. I'm actually not, or 300. I'm not 100% sure, but they're about 250 or 300 Stardust. So as you can see, the vast majority of these relics are from the adventures, and so they didn't put them in the reliquary pool because they didn't want people to, I guess, overpull them or pull them before they did the adventure and then have 2 copies of something like an Archangel Staff that you can't really use. So I'm assuming that's kind of why they did that. But there are some relics here that are not part of the adventure. So for example, Gale Force, and then there are some where you really want to double them up. For example, Stalker's Blade. Because of that, if you see these kind of things in the shop, they should be pretty high priority. So things like Gale Force, pretty much the only way you can get it right now is through the Emporium. If that's a relic you want, and it is still good, like you can still use it on Yuumi. There are some Teemo builds with it. If that's a relic you want, you need to buy it from the Emporium. So if it does come up, you might want to pick it up before you lose that option. Other things that I highly, highly, highly recommend is a second Stalker's Blade. There's a ton of builds that use double Stalkers. So these two I would very highly recommend. If they show up on your Emporium, you should probably just buy it, because you don't have to worry about getting extra copies since you can't pull them, and they're high utility, Gale Force and the second Stalkers. Then these next ones also, you can't pull these from the Reliquary, so you may want to consider it. So second Riptide, really good for Jhin, and I mean, it turns him basically from a low tier to a very high tier champion. So I would highly consider that, especially if you like playing Jhin. And then I also listed here a second Ludens. I personally don't find that helpful, but there are some people that do. Second Grand General Counterplan, again, same thing. I don't find it super useful, but some people do. Second Him, which I personally find very useful, but some people think it's not. And then third Stalkers, which I also personally find very useful, but a lot of people say that it's a bit overkill. The two Stalkers is fine. So should you ever buy stuff from the Emporium that is available in the Reliquary pool? The answer to that is, if you really want to, is the answer. You know, the last thing you want to do is to get dupe relics that then get converted back to Stardust, because you're going to be getting obviously a lot less Stardust. For a silver reliquary or a rare relic duplicate, you're only getting 100 back, whereas you're buying it for 500. So you're going to lose a lot of Stardust if you do end up pulling these again. But there are a few relics that you may not want to wait because they just take so long to pull them and they're so good. Or there's also some cases where, because you actually need multiple copies of the rare relic anyways, you don't feel so bad, because if you pull a second one, that's fine, because you can use the second one as well. So the examples that I've listed here are Chemtech Duplicator. So Chemtech Duplicator, you can only have one copy, but it's a really good relic for a lot of champions. So I mean, you know, if you don't have the patience to try to wait to pull it, I mean, it's not a bad purchase. I would say for 500 dust, it really does change the way you play a lot of champions, and it's a lot of fun. So you might want to pick it up. And then the next two, Bounty Hunter's Renown and Curator's Gatebreaker. If you don't have any copies of this, I really wouldn't feel that bad about picking up the first one, because these are relics that you can easily and often play 2 copies of on a champion. There are some builds that you could even potentially do 3 Bounty Hunters. 3 Gatebreakers, unfortunately, is not so good post-nerf, but 2 is still good. So yeah, I mean, these are ones that, yeah, you might pull them in a reliquary, but even if you pull extras, then it's not so bad. Now, if you already have 1 copy of these, you might not want to get the second. If you have 2 copies of these, don't pick up the third. That's not worth your Stardust. And then I've listed a couple other ones that are kind of lower priority. Lost Chapter and Guardian's Angel. Again, you might want to just hold off to try pulling these naturally, but Lost Chapter is a pretty important one for a lot of champions like Nidalee and things like that. So you might actually want to just buy it while it's there. And Guardian Angel, I mean, I would try to wait, but if you really want to try a Guardian Angel build, you can get it. And then here I just listed the ones that are not in the pool. So like the majority of these I already mentioned. These are the ones from the 2-star adventure rewards, with the exceptions of Gale Force and Spatula. The reason a Spatula is not listed here under the Emporium exclusives is because it's terrible and you never want it. So don't even bother. Don't waste your Stardust on Spatula until they buff it. You know, one day when they do buff it, then we might have to think about buying it. But for now, just ignore this. And then we kind of talked about the ones that you might want to get second copies of. All right, this is just a short video. I just kind of wanted to run down quickly what kind of relics you might want to target. You know, especially useful for both adventures and monthlies. In general, relics that tend to be good for monthlies are just good relics that you would want to have anyways. So there's lots of overlap there. And good luck. Hopefully you pull your relics, and hopefully your Emporium gives you the stuff you're looking for. Take care.